Hello, Marcus.
Hey, Joe. First of all,
hey,
it was so fun to watch you on the show. I think you made it 34 days. You made it all the way to 5th place, and all of this at the age of 71. You put some of these other people to shame. You really did.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that compliment, and I'll take it.
And before we get into the medical emergency, I kind of want to go back to the beginning. Like, was being on Survivor, was it a dream for you? Was it something you'd wanted to do for a long time?
Well, Marcus, I actually applied in 2000 for Borneo, but I did not get selected. Rudy did. And subsequent to that, in 2014, of course, he's a Navy veteran. I am. And the Navy SEAL Museum is only about 12 miles from my home down here where we live. It's in Fort Pierce. We became friends in 2014. So he inspired me to send in a tape. He said, Joe, they haven't had someone on since me that's over 70. I think they'll like you. So I made the tape, and obviously it worked out because there were my feet that first day in front of Jeff with that boat challenge in Cambodia. And I thought, hey, you did it. So I was very, very excited about it. So I had not thought about it during those years. I had watched Survivor for a couple years after that, stopped watching it, and then when I became a candidate, I reviewed over 200 hours of the past seasons, watching for months, almost like a full-time job. Both have a little cabin in North Carolina and here in Vero Beach, Florida, to learn how to play the game, which was so different than from season one. So
it's changed
that was it.
Completely.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And what was the reaction from your family and your friends and your colleagues when you actually made it on the show?
Well, I kind of, disbelief. I have two sons. One's a firefighter down in Hollywood. That was the shirt that I wore. That sweatshirt was honoring the men and women of Hollywood Fire Rescue in Hollywood, Florida. My other son owns a restaurant in the Fort Lauderdale area. They were kind of pleased, like, holy mackerel, Dad. It's hard to get from kids, any kind of acknowledgement, as you know. Well, these guys are old. They're like 40 years old. So the dad made it. And certainly, as I moved through the season, they were excited for me. And then last night, my one son, the firefighter, said, "Meat, Dad, meat." And I just laughed. And MEAT, meat. So, and then people that I know, and a very interesting happened that there was a side of the family that I didn't know existed. My grandfather, Del Campo, Joe Del Campo, my grandfather, his mom, who I remember when I was a little child, had actually, his father, his name was Joseph Del Campo also. He died, and she married a man named Mr. Trotta. Well, I didn't know, but there were all these distant cousins that because of the show I became aware of. They're second, third, and fourth cousins, and there's scores of them. So here is a whole side of the family I didn't know existed. I tried to track my grandfather genealogy-wise down. I couldn't. It was end of the line because it became the Trottas. So that was an incredible gift that I got that I now have up in the Philadelphia area, all these people. And the young kids that are watching that are 5 and 6 years old. And the joy, and I don't want to get ahead, but last night I'm heavy involved in Yorkie Rescue, as is Linda, Florida Yorkie Rescue. The veterinarian that does all our work invited us to her house for a party, and there were about a dozen kids, preteen, that we sat and watched the show together and think that these young people, preteen, are watching this and excited, because together moms and dad, I guess, watch it, and cheering for me. It made me feel wonderful. And the questions from 7 and 8 years old was like, holy mackerel, they're like little people. It was amazing. So the joy from that, and whatever residual maybe that I have left with some of these young folks about their lives, about what they want to do in their lives that I'll never know about, to me is like, that's the beauty about this. Not so much winning the final prize, but this stuff that we'll never know about, that you might affect somebody's life in that kind of a way. That's what's important to me.
What a great story. And you mentioned the meat, and I was thinking for a while you were actually Superman out there, and this meat was your kryptonite. This is what took you down. And so take us through what happened after the camera stopped rolling. You go off on that boat after saying goodbye to your castmates. Did they take you to the hospital right away, or just to the camp?
Well, we have at the base camp. There's an infirmary there that treat everybody that's working on the show, which are hundreds of people, as you know. Dr. Joe gave me a couple hours for something to happen, or else I was going to be taken over to Cambodia mainland and put in a hospital and catheterized, which I didn't want to happen because he said, well, you'll probably go back to the United States with that catheter in you. I said, no, Doc, that's not going to happen. What do I need? He said, well, we're going to give you something to help you along. And he said, you need to be drinking a lot of water in this next hour or two. So I drank more and more water. I come even more distended. He did give me pain pills, which took the edge off of the real bad, ache I had in the stomach. And I was able to successfully get rid of all that stuff. And then after that, he gave me a once over, said, okay, you're pretty good. We're going to free you up to go to Ponderosa. They took me to Ponderosa, got together with the guys. I don't know if you saw the Ponderosa clip yet.
Not yet.
With guys and, okay. Well, if you get a chance to check it out. And, in the next 3 days I was recovering because, it had done some damage, to me and trying to, get rid of all the meat, so to speak. I was a lot of discomfort, but I was okay, so to speak, and sleeping in a bed and, and eating regular real food. Mostly I didn't have any meat. Anyway.
Have you had meat since then?
Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have. But I don't eat a lot of meat because, my Linda here, she's a vegetarian and, we eat a lot of the steamed vegetables and things of that sort, which are good. And kind of keep me young looking as best I can and, fit and in shape. So I try to do what we're supposed to do to try and maintain this one little body that we were given at birth.
If you had gone to tribal council like normal, who do you think was going home that night? Maybe Michelle, no, not Ty because he had the idol still. What do you think would have happened?
Well, again, because we came up with or said, and I said whatever that, okay, how about the three of us when we're at the reward? That wasn't etched in stone. And as you know, as being somebody who's probably followed the show a long time, things happen on a whim. Things happen on a blink of an eye. Things happen with a head nod, original plan, not original plan. So who knows what would have happened, had we gone next day, that didn't happen, and we had a challenge, and who would have won the challenge, and would that person who won the challenge be maybe somebody would have been voted against? We don't know. So it was totally open to see what was going to happen, and nothing was fixed in cement or etched. So that's my answer, is that really, even though things were said while we were there, things can change and as quickly. It's somebody make a great plea for why they shouldn't be voted or why, we should vote on a certain place. So it was a living, live thing.
Right. So that reward challenge was probably one of your highlights on the show, if not the highlight, when you actually came back from behind and won that challenge. You sank all of those sandbags. What was it like at that moment when you actually won?
Marcus disbelief, excitement, and I thought, wow, finally I get some. I almost won that ring toss, but Ty wanted to throw the first three rings. I don't know if you caught that on camera or not, but he did not get one. So by the time I got the rings and we got two on, that might have been another one we won. I just didn't have enough time to finish it because Sydney, she got hers on it in the end there. I'll tell you, the next biggest thing I'm proud of, and most people don't know that, but I named the tribe Dara. I had researched that name, and in Khmer language, Cambodian language, that means star, S-T-A-R. Here we are under the stars. What a great name for it. And I thought they would give it a bigger play, CBS, but, they didn't. But that was a legacy, and I said that actually in one of the deleted scenes, that was my legacy, that I'll always have that the final tribe name was Dara, and it was Joe that named the tribe. And it was significant. It was Cambodian. It was under the stars there. It was a real word. So.
I love that because I did wonder why it was named that. I'm so glad you mentioned that here. And the final question before we go, do you have any advice out there for other 71-year-olds who are thinking of doing something absolutely crazy like this in their own lives?
Well, to anybody of any age, and if we're talking about senior citizens, hopefully if they either read or listen about what I'm going to say is that if you haven't done anything and you're in fairly good shape, meaning your heart and lungs and the rest of your body is functioning well, is to do something. Get out there, go to a gym. You don't have to be crazy like me and try and build muscles and do all that. But just take care of yourself, and it doesn't have to be a lot. If you're not walking, get out of the chair, take a walk. If you're not doing any kind of exercise and you're by the counter, put your feet back a little bit and do some kind of little push-ups there in front of the sink. Don't have to be big, don't have to be on the floor, just something. And then also just think positively as much as you can, because either way, if you think positive things will come to you as well as negative. But if you think negative, not too many positive things you're going to be right either way. If you want to think positive, you want to think negative, you're right. Either way you want to choose. But I choose to think positive. I've had things happen in my life, as all of us have, that were negative and impacted greatly. But that's in the past. And who wants to look over their shoulder in the past? We have the present right now, which is going to be over as soon as I say it, and we have the future. Which do you choose? Well, I'm choosing the future. I don't know how long I'm going to be on this earth. I'm hoping, like my mom, she's 95, a little bit with the memory thing, but she's 95, has had a joyous life, and I hope to have the same thing if I make it that long.
Well, Joe, it's so great to talk to you. I'm very excited to see you next week at the reunion finale show.
Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.